Frankincense on its own, I just want everybody to know, represents a sav. On its own, it represents a sav. However, because we know, I understand, even in oil, however, because we know that it is included in the Ktoret, it has a midah of Kedusha. Everything in this world has a midah of Kedusha, has a spark and an element of goodness. The most downtrodden behaviors, thoughts, emotions, everything has a spark of godliness. This is the Torah of Hasidut, of the Baal Shem Tov. We know that Hashem is found everywhere. This is one of the big machlokets, one of the big oppositions, so to speak, between the whole world and the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, is this whole idea of how could it be that in evil you can find Hashem. And I'm not going to get into it, but at the end of the day, yes, Hashem is found everywhere. If we say that Hashem is not found in the most downtrodden, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we need to recognize that in everything that we're involved in, Be'ezrat Hashem, there's Hashem vitalizing it, Hashem bringing it to us. There has to be a spark of godliness, because if we say there's anything in this world that doesn't have godliness in us, that's epikos, that's heresy. So we need to recognize that, and we need to understand that. Gosh, okay. Anyway, so at the end of the day, everything has a spark of godliness in it, and our job is to just constantly open up the packages, right? We don't judge anything by its cover. We always recognize that there's something. In other words, first impressions aren't the way of Jewish thinking. We don't judge people by the first impression that we see them. In every good there's bad, in every bad there's good, in every truth there's lie, in every lie there's truth. Okay? Since the days of Adam HaRishon, there's an admixture of everything in the universe. Only when Mashiach comes will he bring this ultimate separation. We see this happening in the universe right now, that there's, I think I've said this before, at the end of days, it'll feel like everybody's in this big, big sieve, this big strainer, and Hashem is shaking us, shaking us, shaking us. And the purpose of this sieve is to rid our society and rid our consciousness from anything that is stopping us from being connected to Hashem, to sieve away and filterize and remove from our midst any sheker, anything that's sheker, anything that's a lie. So we see this, that there's a lot of filterization, all that's going on, by the way, in the world. Now we could judge and see who our real friends are. Who is Am Yisrael's real friends? We can really see that, right? From the places we buy, the suppliers, the stores, the government officials, the celebrities, the singers. There's a huge filterization going on right now. And we should thank Hashem a million times over that we get to see who are our true loyal, advocates for Am Yisrael. And even that, there's still a little sheker in there, because we see the minute they find out something, then that's when you have to see, like, oh, they switched their head. What happened? Yesterday they were just at the pro-Israel rally. Like, what happened? So, again, this is all doing us a favor. So we get to see who our real allies are. And at the end of the day, we know what is the true end of days prophecy. I've been saying this for 13 years. When Am Yisrael could say, Pe'echad, lev echad, with one mouth and with one heart, en lanu al mi lishen el al avinu shebashamayim. I can't trust anybody. I cannot trust, and I can't even trust myself. They say, Al tamin ba'atzmacha ad yom motcha. Don't even trust yourself. Don't even trust your judgment. You can't trust anyone. You can only trust Hashem. And only when you get to that point, and you could say, Hashem, I don't trust myself, I don't believe in myself, meaning not from a place of self-sabotage, but from understanding that I am biased. Everything I do in this lifetime is biased. It's for my own self-interest, because my ego is at my first runner, right? We know that. And if anyone thinks that they're such a saint or such a tzaddikus or a tzaddik, that they don't believe that that's the case, well, I have plenty of Hasidic masters that'll say to you that that's not the case, because we judge ourselves maybe a little bit sometimes too harshly, which also has a place in ego. I'm not going to get into that, but at the end of the day, We really need to recognize, and that's the filterization process. The kavana and the intention from the beginning of my day, without any connection to energy work. My intention from the beginning of the day is all that I'm doing, Hashem, is in order to serve you. Ani eved, v'ata amelech sheli. I'm your servant. I pray to be your eved ne'eman, your loyal servant, and you are my melech. You're my king. I am your bat. I am your daughter. I am your ben, for the men here, and you are my ab. You are my father, and that's my relationship with Hashem. And I serve you out of yira, out of a sense of awe and awesomeness from you, and I also serve you out of love, out of a place of just desiring to fulfill your ratzon and to bring you nachat and to fulfill my soul's mission in this world. So that's my kavana, first of all, just from the get-go. That should be part of my everyday language. No matter what I do, if I do energy work or not, that is part of my everyday language. This is what I want to do. I don't want to do anything else in my life. That's what I've dedicated my life to be, that's how I start my day, and that's how I continue my day. So, akol olech achrei hakavana, right? So that's my kavana from the beginning, from the morning. Everything that follows suit from that point on, as we've learned, I let go and I let God. And I keep reminding myself regularly, Hashem, all I want to do is, like, before I'm in a quandrum, before, should I do this today or should I do that today, or is this the right thing or is that the right thing? I start off and I say, Hashem, I just want to do your ratzon. I do the shiviti, the yud and the hey and the vav and the hey. Whether I'm in protocol or I'm doing energy work or I'm not doing energy work, or it's 9 o'clock at night or it's 9 o'clock in the morning, my kavana is always shiviti Hashem. I am here to serve you. And when you say that in and of itself takes down the ego. Hashem, I have no idea what you want from me. I just know one thing, what I want. You know what I want, Hashem? I want to serve you. Just saying those words, I don't know what you want, but I know what I want. I want to serve you. I just want to align my ratzon with your ratzon. Help me want what you want for me. Help me surrender to what you want for me. And when you go into your day with that kavana, again, regardless of energy work or not, but when you find yourself facing anything throughout your day, and that is your kavana, how do you know if what you logically understand things to be, not just you, Hannah, everyone, how do I know that what I'm logically making decisions, I'm using my left, I'm using logic, it makes sense, 1 + 1 = 2. It makes sense for me to make this decision. It makes sense for me to do this, that, or the other. How do I know that what I think makes sense to me is even good for me and not a product of my ego? Leave intuition for a minute. How do I know that anything that I am doing in my life is what Hashem wants or is, the proper way of being? Do I know? It says, Al tamin ba'atzmecha ad yom motcha. I'm not supposed to trust myself ever, ever. So if I have no one who I could trust, who can I trust? Only you, Hashem.